Get out. That's what Laura Scott screamed, her voice cut through the golden evening like a siren before I'd even carried the first box through the front door of the place I just bought, fair and square. Not that it stopped her. Picture this. My hands full, keys dangling, and here comes the neighborhood queen, storming up my sidewalk, waving her leather folder, demanding dues, threatening fines, insisting I pack my things and leave immediately. You know the type. The kind that thinks a clipboard makes her a god. The neighbors froze kids on bikes. A woman trimming roses watching her meltdown unfold like bad reality TV. What Laura didn't know. She was about to lose everything. And yeah, I know most people expect moving to a lakeside cottage to be peaceful. Not a battleground. My name's Jake Rogers, and if you told me when I inherited my grandmother's house on Lake Maplewood that I'd end up taking on the HOA president in front of the whole town, I would have called you nuts. I'm 42. After 2 decades grinding as an IT consultant, all I wanted was roots, some air, a chance for my wife Tracy and our unborn baby to wake up to the sound of water instead of sirens. Grandma Rose's place, the old cedar cottage on the edge of the lake, wasn't fancy, but it was honest, with a wraparound porch that creaked under your feet and a dock where I'd caught frogs as a kid. To me, it was more than a house. It was the place where the world slowed down, where Grandma always said the lake remembers everything. I thought she was just being poetic. I had no idea how right she was. We showed up, tired but hopeful, with Tracy already pregnant and needing rest. She'd spent years wrangling teenagers as a high school teacher, deserved a break more than anyone. And even though she's stubborn, she still let me do the heavy lifting. Just this once. The neighborhood looked like a postcard. Perfect lawns, flags on porches, kids circling the cul-de-sac. But one person didn't smile. She just stood, arms crossed, hair stiff in the breeze, the kind of presence that screams, "I run things around here." Laura Scott, president of the Oak Ridge Homeowners Association. Didn't even bother with small talk, just marched over, heels snapping, and shoved a thick envelope in my face. "Welcome. Here's your initiation paperwork. Annual dues are $270,000 payable in 30 days. I just about dropped my box. I laughed, thinking she was joking. She didn't crack a smile. "This is Oak Ridge. We don't tolerate rule breakers or undesirables." The way she lingered on that word, well, let's just say my jaw clenched so hard I thought I'd chip a tooth. Tracy watched from the porch, hand on her belly. I set the box down and told Laura, as calmly as I could, "I don't think this place is in your HOA. My grandmother owned it for 30 years, never paid a dime." Laura's eyes lit up, all excited and furious, waving a folded document with the wrong address, Maplewood Avenue, not Maplewood Drive. I was about to point out the mistake when I heard Tracy gasp. She gripped the porch rail, her face white as paper. Before I could react, she doubled over, winced, and called my name, her body tense with pain. I dropped everything and caught her as she collapsed. Laura didn't miss a beat, screaming into her phone, "She's faking it. You people don't belong here." My world spun. I raced Tracy to the hospital, Laura's shrieks trailing behind like poison smoke. The hospital was a blur. I barely remember the drive, just Tracy's pale face and her whisper that she'd be fine, though we both knew she was scared. Hours passed. The doctors said the baby was safe, but Tracy needed bed rest. Sitting by her bed, I promised I'd handle the HOA lunatic. She squeezed my hand and said, "Don't let her bully you. She thrives on fear." And if you knew Tracy's familiar long line of Army colonels, you'd understand. She doesn't rattle easy. But inside I was seething. When I got home, the moving truck was gone, and my neighbor Mike Clark was in my driveway, phone in hand. He didn't say a word, just showed me a video of Laura losing it, screaming slander while I was carrying my wife to the car. Mike shook his head. "She does this to everyone." Tried to fine my parents for putting up red lanterns on Lunar New Year. It hit me then maybe Laura's empire wasn't as solid as she thought. The next day, Laura showed up again, this time with her linebacker nephew Derek. He looked uncomfortable, avoiding my eyes. Laura was all threats, claiming I was exploiting a loophole. I almost laughed, but played it cool, said, "This house is mine, and I'm not signing anything." She twitched. Derek looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. That night, he showed up alone, apologizing. "You don't know what it's like," he whispered. "She doesn't lose gracefully." That was the warning I needed. If even her right hand was wavering, Laura was on thin ice. The neighborhood started to shift. Whispers in the cafe. Barista avoiding eye contact. Neighbors glancing away. Rumor was Laura was calling an emergency HOA meeting. Mike brought over a six-pack and grinned. "You've gone viral. People are talking about tearing down the HOA." Laura, meanwhile, doubled down, taping pastel notices to my door, fining me for untrimmed hedges, parking at the wrong angle, even charging me for leaving boxes on the curb. It was almost impressive if it wasn't so nuts. Then, going through Grandma's old files, I found the original deed and a survey map, property line ending 6 inches short of the HOA's jurisdiction. 6 inches. Grandma Rose must have known what she was doing. I called Mike, spread the documents on the table. His eyes got big. "She's got nothing on you," he whispered. "If people see this, she's toast." The night of the HOA meeting, the community center was packed. Laura strutted up in pearls, holding a leather folder, voice echoing off the walls. "This man thinks his inheritance places him above our rules. I have proof." She waved a document again. "Wrong address." I stood, held it up under the lights, pointed out Maplewood Avenue. The room erupted. Gasps, murmurs, people realizing the whole thing was built on a typo. Laura tried to recover, but the neighbors weren't buying it. Even Derek's phone was out, quietly recording. Then Laura upped the ante, unveiled the original community charter. Notarized and stamped, supposedly proving her control. I countered with my deed, showing the property line, the dates, the real address. The crowd started to turn, cracks showing in Laura's facade. She called for the police. Derek looked like he wanted to disappear. Cops showed up, asked for my deed, and within minutes confirmed everything was in order. Laura, though, just kept shouting, "He's lying. Arrest him." The officers weren't buying it. Neighbors whispered, "She's gone too far." And Tracy, standing in the doorway, one hand on her belly, called out, "Jake, it's the baby." Time stopped. The officers switched from skeptical to alarmed, radioed for an ambulance, and Laura's voice, "She's faking it," rattled across the lawns, but nobody cared anymore. Tracy was rushed to the hospital, and I sat by her side, promising myself this wasn't just about surviving anymore. Laura's fines kept coming, now $5,000 at a pop. Mike showed up with a flash drive, videos of Laura's meltdowns. "For safekeeping," he said. That evening, Derek knocked on my door, gave me a USB drive. "She's been hiding things. This has everything," he whispered. I plugged it in, heart pounding. Spreadsheets, fake consulting fees, money funneled from HOA accounts to Laura's own company. She'd been stealing for years, and now I had proof. The next HOA meeting was electric. Laura, live streaming to the whole community, ready to expose me. But I plugged in Derek's USB, projected her crimes on the big screen, bank statements, transfers, her signature everywhere. The room erupted. People shouted, "Where's my 10,000? Laura lost it, shrieking at the crowd. Derek, voice shaking but loud, called her a thief in front of everyone. Real sheriffs came in, cuffs ready, warrant in hand. "Laura Scott, you are under arrest for embezzlement and fraud." Her pearl necklace snapped as she fought them, shrieking that we'd regret it. But the car door slammed and her voice faded into the night. But here's the twist. It wasn't over. Not even close. As the dust settled, neighbors compared notes, $10,000 for sidewalk repairs. Never done. Duplicate invoices, fake companies, money gone. Derek stepped up, admitting he'd helped file papers under pressure but didn't know the scope. She told me it was all legal. I was scared to question her. Some still glared, but most saw him as another victim crawling out of her shadow. The HOA board imploded, half resigning, the rest bickering about who to blame. People looked to me for answers I didn't have. One night, flipping through Derek's files, I found names: Maplewood Holdings, LLC, money flowing to properties in other counties. Contracts signed by strangers with vague titles. Hit me. Laura was just a cog. There were bigger players. And just when I thought we could finally rest, a plain white envelope showed up in my mailbox. No return address. Just 7 words. Maplewood Holdings isn't finished with you. That night, a black SUV idled at the curb, headlights off, windows tinted. It sat there like a shark, engine humming. My pulse hammered. Mike stood on his lawn, phone raised, calling out, "Smile for the neighbors." The SUV revved, tore away down the street. Derek showed up, pale and shaking, whispering that Laura used to talk about her contact, someone who'd fix things if it got out of hand. Tracy, wrapped in a blanket, eyes burning, said, "Then we fight smart, together." It was the first time I realized it was never just my fight. It was everyone's. And if these people thought they could bully us with shadows and threats, they were about to see just how stubborn a lakeside community can get. So yeah, justice felt sweet, but the real story, the bigger battle, was just beginning. If the saga made you cheer or even made you mad, drop a comment. Tell Muho, do you think is really pulling the strings in neighborhoods like ours? Where does the line fall between rules and control, between justice and revenge? Don't just watch. Be part of the story.